Hello.
Hello.
I'm Callum.
And I have been hit by a Basel tram.
And that's Nick. And this is...
That's Eurovision, baby.
Wow. Okay, guys. Pre-season, it's over. It's done.
It's just season now, baby.
Now we are in Eurovision season. Eurovision week. We are maybe 10 minutes after watching semi-final 1 of Eurovision 2025.
I apologize for anyone that is listening through earphones because that probably blew your ears out.
Holy crap. We have thoughts, we have feelings, we have shocks, we have non-surprising things, and we're going to discuss our live reactions to this all right now.
Yeah.
It's raw, it's
real.
And it's rowdy.
Yeah, we have not had time to process our feelings, so we will be striking
We're
out.
processing it right now.
Yeah, and you know what? You are going to help us process it right now. Because, Callum, how do you want to kick things off while we talk about semi-final 1?
Let's give our first impressions. This is our first taste of what Eurovision this year is giving us. So please, Nick, without going into too much detail, what's your first impression of Basel 2025 so far?
I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah.
So I think that I think there's like a few bits and pieces that I'm really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, let's talk about that stage.
Oh, beautiful.
That stage is insane.
Yeah.
It is magnificent.
It's a technical marvel, if you will.
Technical marvel, an absolute masterpiece.
A real technical marvel.
Yeah, if Hans Zimmer was a stage designer, he'd be doing one of these.
Yeah,
ones.
exactly.
But I think just the size and the scale and the versatility of that stage, the way that they're putting it to use, the way that they're doing this like overlay screen effect on it for all the postcards.
Photo frame effect was brilliant. We'll talk more about the stage later, though. But just give me a vibe, give me an emotion. How are you feeling 10 minutes after us watching semi-final 1?
Traumatized.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Traumatized.
Yeah.
Look,
but overall, very positive.
Look, I feel positive. I was feeling pretty locked in with our semi-final picks, not because I thought that we somehow had this
magic formula,
but I just generally thought, this is it. Yeah. And God, we were wrong. So let's jump into it. So guys, if you, for some godforsaken reason, are watching us right now, having not watched semi-final 1, we're just going to tell you right now. Spoilers. They're coming up.
That's
Baby.
it. Baby. There's spoilers.
So, I'm going to do this. 3, 2, 1. That's it. If you are watching, if you're still watching after this point,
you're on board with this for the ride.
Then you're spoiled. Okay, so let's. I think congratulations are in order. Let's congratulate the countries that have qualified.
Yeah.
Starting off with.
So from the top, I guess we can go in running order, sort of.
Let's do it.
So we have Iceland.
Yes.
We have Poland. We have Estonia. We have Ukraine. We have,
Sweden.
to nobody's surprise, Sweden. We have, to everybody's surprise, Portugal. We have Norway. Left side of the board, heavy.
San Marino. Albania. The Netherlands.
And that's it.
And that's it. That right side of the board has actually
been decimated.
Unexpectedly decimated. So I think that segues us into
thoughts and feels.
I'm pretty shook.
Yeah.
So guys, if you know me, if you've been watching, if you've been following along, you'll know that my number 2 of the year, when we did our preseason ranking, has not qualified. And that is rough. So
what we're going to do for a little moment here is we're going to take a very split-second pause and just bow our heads for a moment for our beloved brother in arms to Red Sebastian and Belgium on his birthday, being spat in the face of by Europe. So we're just going to take that.
Look, we're not going to go through every song and why they didn't qualify. We're just going to go through our shocks. Okay, Belgium was probably the song that I was most impressed by from the dress rehearsal. And I watched it, and we watched it, and we sat there and we went, that is incredible. This song's qualifying.
Yeah. Because as you would have seen from our previous videos, we already had an extremely high opinion of Belgium.
We sure did.
As I think a lot of people did, judging by the fact that I think before this semi-final, it was 6 in the odds to win the whole competition.
Thing. Yeah.
So we only hoped when we did our semi-final predictions that we would see a bit of an elevation of the stage show from Belgium. There were some little bits that could have been tightened up.
Which we got.
Still not enough for the European public.
Look, I was banking on a Brat Summer really helping this song get through. I just genuinely think this song was too challenging. I think this song, unfortunately, like it or not, was just...
too fun?
Too much Euroclub mixed with too much falsetto, and based on the fact that we got Ukraine and Portugal all qualifying, I think people wanted vibes this year.
Yeah, people were really, unsurprisingly, in the mood for a gentle, like, guitar sort of ballad.
Before we get into this, let's talk about our two shock NQs, and then we can talk about our shock Qs.
Yep.
So
Belgium,
mourn Belgium for me.
Yeah. So,
give me your thoughts. Why are you sad about Belgium not queuing?
I'm sad about Belgium not queuing because it really feels like Belgium put everything on the line for 100%. This one. Red Sebastian was fantastic. Do I think that there were some things that could have been tightened up slightly in the vocals? Yes.
Sure, but compared to countries that qualify, I think we're really... it's an unfair comparison.
Yeah, exactly. We're splitting hairs at this point. I think that the song was incredibly performed. I think that the staging that they managed to bring to Basel was incredible and was such an elevation on the national final staging that the fact that this didn't qualify was to the point where we sat through those last that last song that wasn't qualifying. That last
announcement, we genuinely thought this is Ukraine's first
non-qualification. Yeah. And then they managed to pull it through, which we'll get to in a minute. Yeah. But Belgium for me, insane shocker.
Should we also talk about our other insane shocker in Cyprus? Look, less insane, but I think you have a Sergio Hayden staging. The staging was pulled off.
Yeah.
It's a song that was a grower.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the problem with Cyprus is that the staging was pulled off.
The staging was the song.
Yeah.
And I think this is and actually, maybe if there's one learning we take from Semi-Final 1, it's that staging is not enough.
Staging can't fix everything.
And it will not save a song. And Cyprus was not particularly adored by the Euro bubble prior. Yeah. And I think that as impressive as the staging was, I think maybe we just saw Theo going about the staging and not really going about the song.
Yeah. I think that the issue that we had for Cyprus will be remembered as the song that did too much. So I think a little bit of a stumble maybe for Sergio and Cyprus. Not a big deal because the staging was still insanely cool.
It was fantastic.
Really elevated.
It was very impressive.
But I think, unfortunately, it put Theo through the ringer to the point that he wasn't able to deliver vocally what he needed to for the song, and it just sounded a bit breathy and exasperated, and ultimately it just wasn't the impressive package. I think that people had already made their mind up by the time they'd gotten to the end, and he needed to blow the socks off.
He didn't vocally deliver. So I will say we got 8 out of 10 countries that qualified. Belgium and Cyprus were our shock slips.
Now let me talk to you about it.
Yes, let's eulogize one that really came through.
Let's talk about a semi-shock non-qualifier because obviously no one really predicted this country to make it. We did not either.
No, but still, we need to shout them out.
We need to mourn a little bit for Croatia.
Marko Bosniak. The elevation. Great elevation.
The elevation of this performance from what we saw at the national final, vocally, performance-wise, absolutely everything was just on another level.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely mental. Like, I was enraptured by this performance.
That was... costuming was incredible. Staging was incredible. I think the vocals were still really good.
The use of audio effects as well, like the distortion and everything.
Look, I bring up the Bambi Thug counter again, but it was giving Bambi Thug in the way that the vocal distortion was really working in its favor. I think Marco did everything he could, and that's what's so crazy about the semi-finals. And we'll get to the ones who we think slipped by. I think that for Belgium, Cyprus, and Croatia, they elevated their song through impeccable staging. They delivered fantastic vocals. I think the reason it wasn't enough was just because all 3 of those songs were not instant. And we speak about this, and we've spoken about this before. You need a song
that is
to be instant, because even though we've heard the songs like 50 times each, the average Eurovision audience tuned in
on the night.
And let's be honest, the dedicated average Eurovision audience tuned in on a semi-final, right? The average Eurovision fan is going to tune in on the final on Saturday. But these guys know it enough to tune in on a semi-final. So and probably, even with that dedicated viewership, it still wasn't enough. I'm sad. I think Croatia, Marco, you should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Sebastian, you should be...
And honestly,
robbed.
Yeah, like Theo, I think as well. Like
I can put Theo to bed.
Yeah,
I think I can see why Theo didn't qualify.
And then as for obviously our other non-qualifiers, we had Azerbaijan,
which we guessed.
Yeah, and we had Slovenia,
which we guessed. And look,
those two.
Do we need to go much into
No, from the performances that we saw on the night, those two aren't ultimately surprising. But I think
Slovenia was. When you watch it, the way the energy zapped from the room during that song, Iceland, Poland, Estonia, and we did correctly predict this. Slovenia really drained it. Azerbaijan, I think, Azerbaijan doesn't know what they're doing at Eurovision anymore.
Yeah,
they were a powerhouse in the early 2010s and the late 2000s, but I think currently they just don't know how to deliver. Yeah. And we saw a relatively poppy song just let down by very mid. Production.
Very, very mid-production, very nothing staging.
Forgettable.
And unfortunately, I think that's exactly what happened for Azerbaijan.
Yes, sadly. But look, I'm extremely... We'll end our eulogizing now for saying I'm shocked at Belgium. Genuinely shocked.
I'm a bit heartbroken for Belgium.
I'm genuinely heartbroken at Belgium. I'm sad at Croatia because I think Croatia did a qualifying job on a song that just... was never was struggling from the get-go.
But now level with me for a second. Do you think, because looking at our non-qualifiers that we're a bit shocked by, which are Belgium, Croatia and Cyprus, do you see a bit of a theme of maybe like the male electronica is maybe not as much the appetite as we had thought it might be for this year?
Potentially. I see that. I think maybe also what's happened is I think Croatia's song is too weird. I think Cyprus's song, as we said, relied too much on staging and not enough on actual performance quality. Yeah. And I think Belgium was it's my number 2, guys. But that's okay. I get it, and I'm okay to be wrong.
This is why the world's biggest music democracy
is
what it is.
But the reason it was my number 2 is I really like this Euro Club vibe. I thought, again, Brat Summer, we were going to get somewhere. I think that if I was to give it's that people negatively reacted to Belgium from the get-go. Yeah. And I didn't realize it would be the majority, but here we are. I think just a lot of people didn't like Red Sebastian's falsetto, and I think they thought the club vibes were too much. I just thought that staging and that choreo elevated the song to a level that was an easy qualify over countries that did. But
I thought it would have been enough.
I thought it was more than enough, but it wasn't. But I think we need to move on.
For every shock non-qualifier, there therefore must be a shock qualifier that takes its place.
So there's 2 shock cues for us. Shall we talk about them?
Yeah.
Portugal, San Marino.
Yeah.
We knew San Marino were in the odds to qualify, but that staging, that performance was not enough.
The performance was... I'm gonna...
Nothing happened on that stage.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm happy to take whatever hate may come. That performance was bad.
It was bad. That's a non-qualifying performance.
The performance was poor. The song is it's really not my cup of tea. That's a very personal opinion. Yeah. But I think quite objectively, that performance was awful. Yeah. Nothing happened on the stage.
The staging was really bad.
And even the vocals of the performance were they were fine, but they were very average. For me, this one is like Portugal we'll get to in a minute, but this one for me is the one that I'm completely at a loss by.
Yeah, I think that when you look at Belgium versus San Marino, I see a package
that was raised in quality.
Yeah, I just don't see the same quality. And I get it. I get the song was doing numbers and streaming, and I get the song was like the San Remo song contest theme song, so that has sentiment. Yeah. But I just thought you took that onto the stage and you didn't move, and no one moved. Literally, it was Gabri, 2 backing singers, another backing singer, and 2 instrumentalists, and not a single one of them were changing their position.
They were just hopping on the spot.
So it just tells me that the sentiment towards the song was higher than we anticipated. And again,
that's okay.
We don't take ego into this. Yeah. You can send us hate because you were wrong. But we legitimately look, San Marino did not present a qualifying package this year.
What I would really love as well is if you were someone who voted for San Marino, or you were someone who was like actively rooting for this song.
Tell us why without saying Italia.
Yeah, like tell us what we're missing, because for me this was a dud package.
It was. Shall we move on then to Portugal too? So look, we love Portugal's song, and actually I'm really happy they're through.
So this was actually one of the ones that we mentioned in our qualifying video of I adore this song. We both adore this song.
Can I give a shout out to our favorite Portuguese listener, Ruben?
Ruben, we love you.
We love you, and we're
Congratulations,
so happy. We're so happy that Portugal has made it just on the back of having a fantastic Portuguese listener in you. But we were a little bit let down by what we thought was a lackluster staging.
Again, the song,
but a beautiful. We've always loved the song.
This song is fantastic. It is such a beautiful song. I think the thing that we've said from the start is that this is not a Eurovision song,
and my mind isn't changed.
Yeah, my mind isn't changed, but I think that the fact that this has gone through, I'm actually quite delighted by, because I love this song.
I can see if we're saying San Marino and Belgium should have qualified. Yeah. I think Cyprus and Portugal, I can kind of get Portugal. No, hear me out.
Okay, I'll listen.
I think Portugal confirms to us that the song is always more important, because as much as Cyprus' song really grew on me, it's a great running song. I really like the song.
I could just imagine you just absolutely legging it down the street a little bit of shh.
When we watched it, we both said his vocals weren't great, and I felt like it was just relying on staging. And I think that Portugal's the opposite. We watched him and we're like, this is a fantastic song let down by a very weak staging package. But similar to San Marino, what I'm hearing right now is
that people
vote for a song, not a staging.
Yeah.
And that's probably how it should be, to be fair.
That's completely okay. I think it's just, Portugal for me is still missing a bit of that package, which is the staging component.
Look, San Marino and Portugal, I worry about in the final. I think we're seeing right side of the board finishes for them. But hey, don't listen to us because we didn't predict them making it.
Exactly. But I will give us a little pat on the back for being 8 from 10.
8 from 10, I'm not mad at.
And for a very one that was not predicted by many other people in Iceland as qualifying.
Let's give our cheers to Iceland vibe with Roa.
That was beautiful. I love that.
Wait. I was trying to do a harmony with you.
Ready?
No, a harmony. I'll go low then. Ready? Vibe with Noah. That was bad.
Yeah. We also adore this song.
And it was
It's Crazy It's Party.
We thought it would be between this and San Marino. And maybe when the voting results come in, we find out that it was between this and San Marino, which only tells me Belgium did worse than I thought, but I don't want to get into that.
I mean, look, I see an 11th place for Belgium. I'm hoping.
I'm hurt if that's the case.
But I'm so stoked for Iceland because we knew this song. We knew this song starting the first semi-final was going to stick with people because it was going to be sea shanty fun party anthem, and it was
Iceland's
elevated.
Qualifying for the first time since 2022. But they've broken their 2-year non-qualification streak. So fantastic news for them. Yeah. And these guys, what a better song to qualify with. Fun.
Our grand final will only be the richer for having Iceland in it, because I guarantee you, so we are hosting quite a fun Eurovision event at our house for some close friends. And I guarantee you that there are people there that don't really know Eurovision.
There's going to be, I would say, 60 to 70% of the group has not consumed these songs, but they're only going at 26 songs.
Exactly, but they will be absolutely poppin' puss to Iceland because that song gets my booty moving.
No, I'm so proud of Iceland. Genuinely so proud of them, and I'm like, of all the songs to qualify, I think we cheered the most for them because they were the least expected.
Yeah.
Should we talk about going from Iceland? Maybe one that we maybe wrote off a little bit. I want to talk about Ukraine for 2 seconds.
Okay.
Because it got down to the Ukraine were the last to be announced. And I thought Belgium's being held off they've clearly qualified. Ukraine's on their first NQ. And they came through in the end. And if I'm going to talk about slight letdowns, I'm going to talk about Ukraine's staging because...
What's this Vaseline filter, babe?
The Vaseline filter was actually quite hard on my eyes.
It
but
actually
also,
made it very difficult to watch.
I'm also going to say the Flower Garden was better staging.
It was.
I will say I loved the light flicking thing between the backing singers and everyone. That was incredible.
So do you want...
And our lead singer had so much more charisma.
Yeah.
But again, if we're talking about, and I'll let you go on with this, but if we're talking about who flipped their charisma, Red Sebastian I think, did a better job of giving us more charisma. I don't know. I just feel like everything Ukraine did well, Belgium did better.
Let it go, sis.
I can't. Like,
It's
I can't.
happened.
Look, again, I accept that I had bias towards the song, and I accept that a lot of people didn't like the song.
And again, a reminder that we are mourning in real time right now.
I accept that it's not a song for everyone, but what I don't accept is that this song is not in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I don't accept. But
if it had even stroked
I'll
in the
move on.
10th, like, yeah. Anyway, so Ukraine, for me, the people that really stole the stage were actually the backup singers.
yeah,
the
focus on them really helped.
Like, vocally, like, flawless. But also, like, this little light flickering element that we've got going on was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Daniel was better.
He was.
He still looks a little bit like he's trotting to nowhere,
I
but
think
that's
the
all
band
right.
presence was fantastic.
Yeah.
I just thought the staging was a downgrade from the national final.
My biggest issue...
And I'm going to say that.
Yeah, you say that, honey.
And I'm not going to be afraid to say that.
Yeah, you speak your truth.
Thank you so
On
much.
the internet, you're so brave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to focus...
what you want to say.
Shut up.
And let the words
Slay, slay. On a sleigh. I want to see you slay, slay. Australia 2026. But I think that we should talk about the big issue in the room for Ukraine. The camera work was actually heinous.
There was a lot of odd choices in their song.
Yeah, in the whole screen package.
So I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but I don't care. I don't give a shit, actually. I'm going to be comparing...
He's had a couple of wines and now he's trying to start fights on the internet.
I don't care. I'm going to be comparing things to a bar set by Belgium, and if you do not come above that bar, then I'm going to have umbrage. And at the moment, Ukraine, Portugal, San Marino, and other countries, which we may not discuss tonight, were below that bar. I think Ukraine's song, we love the song. We adore the song.
We are actually
love this kind of music.
We are actually massive advocates for this
We
song
were,
as
and
well.
we predicted it was going to go through. I just thought when we saw it live, I was like, "Oh, this is letting it down a bit." And
This
then
was- so
I
I will
thought
say
it was going
this-
to qualify.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get to that final screen, and I'm like, "Well, it's got to be Belgium." And then
This is one of the few countries that I would say has actually taken a step backwards from their national final.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Their staging is worse than the national final, and
which is a bit disappointing to see.
So let's park that. Who else do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about our women? Let's talk about the Gyalz.
So I think
Let's talk about the Gyalz because I segued into it, and so I'm building momentum.
Let's talk about the big highs of the night.
So let's talk
Gyalz.
about the Gyalz, Gyalz.
Yeah.
Poland and Albania.
Slay.
So
Unfortunately, I'm going to cut you off there. Slay. That's it.
Slay. I guess starting with Poland, I was confident Justina would qualify. My worry was that she was in a bit of a death slot and that maybe she would lose momentum.
And then we heard about the dragon as well.
And then we heard about the dragon, but we watched it and I was like, prove me wrong. This is Game of Thrones. This is
CGI budget. This is season 6 of Game of Thrones. They got money.
This is camp at its absolute... No. And I mean that... I'm gay. I mean this in the highest possible compliment. This is camp in its most polished, perfect form.
This is camp personified.
Yeah. No, Justina blew me out of the water. Her vocals are incredible, and she took our notes. Thank you for watching our How to Win Eurovision series. If you haven't watched it, guys, feel free to watch it.
We knew you were a
Justina
big...
clearly did.
Yeah, exactly. And like, if it's good enough for Justina, it's good enough for you, and it's good enough for all of your friends.
Justina understood And this is where Cyprus failed and Poland won. Poland had this quite hectic package, and I did not tell once that Justina was trying to run to her next mark.
Except for that bit where she sprinted down the
sprinting
center.
was perfect. No notes on the sprinting. The sprinting was camp. No, I'm talking about the fact that Justina's staging had a lot to it, but she owned every minute.
Yeah.
Whereas to discredit Theo, and no offense to Theo because the staging was amazing, Theo felt like he was just desperately trying to get to the next vignette.
So I think the problem is that I think Poland staged the song around Justina's singing, and they said, how much can we fit in around her? Whereas I think Cyprus, unfortunately, went in with a vision of this is what we want to achieve with the staging, vocals be damned.
Yes.
And it showed.
Theo's vocals weren't as bad as I thought they would be, but if you've got how do I explain it? Theo hits notes, but the rest of the song is kind of not that challenging. And if you're struggling in your chorus to even hit the note, then I struggle to think what you're going to do in that last note. I'm sad, though, because I reckon Twitter's going to be mocking Theo, and Theo should be so proud of himself.
Yeah.
Because that staging, and Sergio Hayen should be so proud of himself, that staging was everything.
It was insane.
But again, it comes back to song over staging. Let's move to Albania, though. I think that was one of my wig snatches of the night.
Beatrice?
No, Beatrice.
Beatrice, you own everything that you want on this earth. Everything that you are is everything that I want to be, and I could not ask for more of.
So,
Cole, I could look you...
You stress the E's in the wrong names. Beatrice and Cole.
Cole. You and your weird staring forward energy, I would die for you.
I would die for you too.
So, Albania was probably one of my picks of the night.
So I'm going to say this right now. It's Albania's best package ever.
Also their most expensive.
It may not be Albania's best result ever, but I'm going to say this right now. That is Albania's best package ever. We are massive Ranella fans, but we understand that Secret failed in its staging for being an amazing song. This was everything, and they should be so proud.
And more importantly,
obsessed.
For this song, this is a song that will live onwards past Eurovision and will be remembered and listened to by people ongoing onwards, because this song, this staging, this moment, this presentation was absolutely fantastic.
And I had a moment listening to this song, and to be after Italy, Azerbaijan, and San Marino, and I'm not going to lie, those 3 songs in a row, a bit weak. Just saying.
Italy was pretty good.
We'll get to that.
He had a really long piano.
We'll get to it. Not in the semifinals. Italy, Azerbaijan, San Marino, I was a bit bored. The way Albania got me out of my comatose state and got me up, like,
she put her fist through that TV screen.
It's not just her. She put her fist up me. It's not just her. It was the whole thing.
Say that on YouTube?
We're not monetized at the best of times. It was the way that Albania just delivered everything I wanted. Like, sorry, I'm so proud of these guys. Shkodra Elektronik.
Good work.
Loved their original package was good. We needed them to go higher, and they just did it so well. The split screen red and white thing. She did a dancing segment. Cold had his moment, and all of it was perfectly balanced. Her vocals were perfect.
I would say that she probably had the best vocals of the night, because her vocals flawless and clean. Kyle?
I think Kyle and Beatrice were the 2 best vocals of the night. Okay. And we'll get to that because I need to ask the chat a question. But before we get there, Albania being announced that early, I was like, that's so correct, because I loved it. I think this song has bumped it up my rankings even more. Shall we talk quickly? Okay, do you want to talk about them?
We're just kind of going everywhere, really, aren't we?
So I have a question to the room, guys. We're not going to talk about our locks for the... Well, actually, no. Do we want to talk about our 3 locks for the qualifying and give our top-level review?
Sure.
Spain, Italy, Switzerland. Okay, I'm going to rank them quickly. Italy at the bottom, even though I love their song. Spain shocked me because she listened to our advice. I was not having a panic attack watching this song. Thank you, Melody. But Switzerland.
Now, I want it known. I want it known by the viewing public that we recorded this.
Okay, guys, we didn't wake up at 5 a.m. Yeah. We're sorry. Arrest us.
Yeah. We recorded the viewing on SBS.
Because we are Australian and we're like fucking 10 hours ahead and we had jobs the next day and we didn't want to wake up early. Sorry, I'm very defensive.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think Red Sebastian really got me red.
How about you cool it?
No.
So we recorded this on SBS.
We looked manic. Sorry, just give me 1 second. No, you can talk.
Oh.
No, talk, please.
Okay. So we
talk. What are you doing?
No, can you?
No, I'm adjusting my hair.
You're going too manic.
I'm not going too manic. I'm just looking good for the camera. Da, 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 da.
I don't know what this energy is.
Yeah, we recorded at 5 a.m. Go on.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
So, I want it known by the Eurovision public.
My hair looks great.
That Cullen's hair looks great. That we recorded this on SBS to watch back.
So SBS is our EBU broadcaster for those of you not from Australia.
So we recorded it on SBS to watch back. And we had, for whatever reason, a bit of a technical difficulty during Zoe's song.
Yes.
Or actually, maybe share if it happened to you too.
Yeah. So
because we'd like to know if it was.
So we're trying to understand, was the technical difficulty in Zoe's song our crappy recording to the hard drive? Or was it like a Colleen Austria situation?
My bet is on the former.
My bet's on the latter because did you see the cut to the wide shot where it clearly said on the frame,
get your phone light down.
They would not cut to that if it was not an accident.
Okay.
So I'm of the impression that a cable got disconnected when they were doing the faire un voyage and it ruined it.
Yeah.
But this is their rehearsal, so good on them.
And was still the most captivating performance of the night. I
think
by far the best vocal. And
easily.
One of the most stunning packages.
Dare I say,
I've seen. My highlight
number
of the night.
One stage, number two. One or two staging of the night goes to Zoe, even with a technical difficulty.
Yeah.
And if that's it with a technical difficulty,
fuck me.
When we're getting to the... Because I guarantee you, whoever's in that room, assuming it wasn't our hard drive, whoever's in that green room or whoever's in that
the production hut,
the delegation, they're going to make sure it doesn't happen.
Oh,
as much as they're going to make sure that broken LED panel... Did you guys see it?
Yeah,
the one broken LED panel in the background.
It was about, I want to say, it was about back
I'll give you that. It was, but you could tell.
Yeah.
I think if Zoe pulls it off without any technical glitches, which is not her fault, I think that is maybe with all due respect to Voila.
If I could reshoot,
that is maybe some of the best. I have a top. And I won't reveal it tonight because we'll do a video on it in the next couple of months. That maybe enters my top 5 staging of all time.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
For me, if seeing what we've seen from Switzerland.
Crazy.
If we could reshoot our winner potentials video.
Yeah.
I think she would be in it.
Oh my God. And back-to-back wins of any country, Switzerland, and I back.
Yeah. Look, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
But... holy crap. But obviously, let's talk about some of the other big spots of the night. Sweden.
Yeah, so I was going to say, let's transition. So we'll just quickly recap. Italy, I was disappointed by because their staging was just bland and a Sanremo rip. But
with a really long piano.
I loved the penis stroke in the piano. Spain impressed me a lot. She was having the time of her life, and I think it was
really
much less manic.
Yeah. Switzerland, slay.
Switzerland was it. If we're going to rank the locks, Switzerland is a chasm between Switzerland and the other two. But let's talk about our other locks, starting with Sweden.
Look,
mental. We knew.
Yeah,
we knew. Guys, we knew.
Yeah. Look, there was never a reality on this earth in which that wasn't qualifying, but the package that they brought to the stage was absolutely fantastic. fucking tastic.
I didn't realize it would be this elevated.
Yeah.
I thought you can copy and paste it from Melfest and it's still going to be amazing.
Yeah.
When the fire was shooting out of that barbecue, I was losing my shit because that was incredible. And that was the perfect transition between the sauna to the sauna rave.
Yeah. The color explosion on that stage.
And that laser light show, like, it was impressive in Melfest. Yeah. I don't know what Basel did, but it made it even more incredible. I was gobsmacked. Yeah. And I whispered to Nick, I was like, oh yeah, this is winning. This is fucking gonna win, isn't it? But Eric is still good.
Well, exactly. Exactly. We still haven't seen semi-final 2, so we'll reserve our judgments until then.
We're waving our Finnish flags. But God, Sweden's was good.
Yeah. Speaking of locks that were good though, let's talk about not Estonia.
Estonia? Okay. So we knew Estonia was qualifying.
Yeah.
We do not like their song, and it's not that we don't like Tony Cash. Again, you guys who call yourself brats when you should be calling yourself angels because you're not original Charlie fans. I listened to Pop 2 when it came out, when Delicious came out, and Tommy Cash was on the track.
Got fucked by the trees.
Got fucked by the nature
and didn't use protection.
Made a lot of trees in a book section.
Yeah.
Didn't like it then.
Yeah.
Delicious,
don't like it now.
No, Delicious is a great song outside of Tommy's verse. All that breakdown at the end. But look, my issue with the song, I said from the beginning, I said now, I fucking hate the verses. I hate the this musical theater, and I know you're going to say, but you like Remember Monday, that's musical theater. Yeah, but I just hate whatever this brand of musical theater is.
You're really trying to pick a fight with the audience today,
yeah, because I'm anticipating. Whatever this brand of musical theater is where he's doing, I just hate the song. It was safe from the get-go. It didn't have to do much. I will say, credit to Tommy, that cut to the fan of the audience. Genuinely, I was like, oh, a Tommy fan. Her running on stage. I was like,
that was very fun.
You
and
got
very
me
silly.
so good. Yeah. And I will say, Tommy, absolutely fantastic work there. That was brilliant.
It was very
staging.
good. But I will say the performance outside of that was pretty average. I will say,
he couldn't sing it.
Yeah, the vocal performance was pretty average. The staging was pretty much exactly the same as it was at the national final with no changes.
He just had
didn't love it.
a more immersive background.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've got Sweden and Estonia were kind of our locks going into it. We've spoken about Portugal. Still our shock cues. Norway, if I was to give my brief review on, flawless, perfect vocals, that choreo. Again, like Sweden, I think the same, but
up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, completely.
And if we were to briefly bring up the Netherlands,
yeah, I think maybe we'll finish up on the Netherlands.
Yes, we should. Beautiful.
I have been open about the fact that maybe I'm not the biggest fan of this song. And that it's just not a song that's made for me. I think it's a little bit simple, but I will say that the performance that we saw tonight was exceptional.
People who were shitting on his bung note in the dress rehearsal footage, I'm here to say, with all due respect, grow up, because choreo and staging and the whole thing, I had a couple of moments watching that being like, that's beautiful. I think
the lighting at the start,
the lighting throughout it, actually, the way the dancers would appear in the most perfect moments, the way that the orchestra appeared, I just think the staging of the Netherlands song was absolute art. It's probably not my favorite, and I'd actually still argue that it's, I don't know, I think it might get a 12 or 2 from the jury.
I think it's definitely going to get a 12 or 2.
I don't think it's going to do super well overall. And I think depending on how we see Czechia in 2 days' time, which we don't know, but I think that these guys are still stealing each other's points.
Yeah.
But
still eating from the nachos.
But genuinely good on you, Claude. Let's wrap up.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized because to think that Strobe Lights isn't in the finale this year is
a little bit, it hurts a bit.
It hurts not because I loved the song originally. It hurts because I loved the song, and then I saw this revised staging, and I went, this staging is making people who don't like the song realize how good it is. And then we watched the whole thing, and I went, there is no way this can't qualify because trace it. It's perfect. And it still didn't. And it's made me just go, people don't like the genre of music I like as much. But I think also, we said it once, we said it again, staging won't save a song.
No. And speaking of songs that we're heartbroken over, I'm sure that we've got plenty more to come in the second semi-final.
No, we've been heartbroken enough in the semi-final. This second semi-final, 100% success rate.
So, legally, we have to have the exact qualification rate that we predicted. So, obviously, we have the second semi-final coming up on Friday for us, Thursday for all of Europe. So we'll be very excited to be reacting raw to that one as well.
We'll try and get the episode out just as quickly, guys. We understand that maybe in your time zone it's late, but for us it's like we woke up, we worked a whole day, we watched Eurovision, we recorded this, and it's still going out on the same day.
Had a pie for dinner.
Just please respect that the time zone difference makes it very hard for us to record like night of, because for us it's a long time after. But thank you so much for hearing our raw, real, and
unfiltered thoughts. Congratulations to all of the qualifiers.
Absolutely.
We look forward to seeing you
honestly,
in the grand final.
Genuinely excited for all of them. Like, I mean that. I know we've been critical, but like we still genuinely are so excited.
And we respect the process.
That's democracy, baby. Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, and we hope to see you in our semi-final 2 reaction. Nick, any final words?
Tampere 2026. Thanks, guys. Bye.